It was September 4th, 1954. The sky over Aachen, Germany was perfectly clear. A deep blue stretched across the morning horizon. On the runway sat a gleaming Lockheed superconstellation, its name painted proudly on the fuselage. Santiago Flight 513. 92 souls on board. 88 passengers, 4 crew members, all unaware that this short, routine flight to Porto Alegre, Brazil, would become one of the strangest stories aviation has ever whispered about. Among the passengers were businessmen, families, newlyweds chasing tropical sunlight, and a pilot known for his precision, Captain Miguel Victor Curry. The engines roared to life, echoing through the hangars. At 9:30 a.m., the tower cleared Flight 513 for departure. It lifted smoothly into the air, disappearing into the bright morning sky. No one on the ground knew it was the last time they'd ever see Flight 513 for 35 years. Just hours into the transatlantic flight, things started to go wrong. Around 1 p.m., radio operators in Dakar lost contact. The last message received was brief, almost routine. Cruising altitude 18,000 feet, all systems normal. Minutes later, silence. The plane vanished from radar. No distress call. No sign of malfunction. Over the following weeks, international search teams scoured the Atlantic corridor. Navy patrols, commercial pilots, even fishermen were told to keep an eye out. Nothing. Not a seat cushion, not a wing fragment, not a single floating clue. By 1955, the world had moved on. The airline, Santiago Air, quietly folded. Families held memorials without bodies. The ocean kept its secret, and yet, legends have a way of resurfacing, just like ghosts. October 12, 1989. Porto Alegre Airport, Brazil. Air traffic control was quiet that afternoon. Just a few commercial flights, nothing unusual. Then, a sudden blip on the radar. An unidentified aircraft was approaching from the east. An outdated transatlantic flight pattern, long abandoned. Controllers hailed it repeatedly. Unidentified aircraft. This is Porto Alegre Tower. Identify yourself. No response. As the dot neared the runway, the control tower's binoculars caught sight of the impossible. A 1950s-era propeller plane circling the airport. The call sign read, Santiago 513. It can't be, one controller whispered. That flight was declared lost 35 years ago. The plane descended gracefully and touched down. It taxied to a stop on the far end of the runway, engines still idling. Flaps down. Everything perfect. But still, no radio contact. No movement inside. Ground crews approached cautiously, expecting perhaps a mechanical malfunction or a hijacking. What they found would freeze their blood. The door was sealed tight, but when they pried it open, a wave of stale air poured out, dry, ancient, lifeless. Inside, every seat was occupied. The passengers sat upright, heads tilted slightly, as though frozen in time. But they weren't alive. Each figure was a skeleton, perfectly preserved, dressed in uniforms and clothing from the 1950s. The crew, the passengers, even Captain Curry, still gripping the controls in the cockpit. The control panel lights flickered faintly. The engines were still running. The logbook lay open on the dashboard. The last entry was dated September 4th, 1954, the day it took off. Mechanics reported that the fuel tanks were almost full. The clock in the cockpit ticked normally, as if the flight had only lasted hours, not decades. Porto Alegre authorities sealed the plane immediately. Photos were allegedly taken, but none were ever officially released. What happened inside Flight 513 remains one of aviation's most chilling mysteries. Within hours, news of the discovery spread. The Brazilian Aeronautical Authority launched an investigation, joined by international experts. Serial numbers matched the original Santiago Air manifest. But there were problems. Santiago Airlines itself no longer existed, and no records of the company could be found beyond 1956. Witnesses claimed the aircraft was quickly moved to a restricted hangar under heavy guard. Some said they saw men in suits, not local police but government officials, taking boxes from the plane and driving away in unmarked trucks. Officially, the government denied everything. They claimed no such plane landed, no such incident occurred. But a few airport workers leaked what they saw. And soon, conspiracy theories erupted across newspapers and radio talk shows. Was this a case of time distortion, aliens, or a government experiment gone wrong? The deeper people looked, the stranger it got. Some said the plane's metal showed no signs of corrosion, as if it had been shielded from time itself. Others claimed the bodies decayed instantly once exposed to air. Whatever truth existed was buried under secrecy and fear. Over the years, several explanations emerged, each more bizarre than the last. Theory number 1, the time warp. Some believe Flight 513 slipped through a rift in time, a wormhole, a magnetic anomaly, and re-emerged in 1989 exactly as it left. To those who support this, the preserved condition of the aircraft and skeletons was proof. Maybe, one physicist suggested half-jokingly, they never noticed the years passing. Theory number 2. Secret experiment. Others whispered of military technology tests in the 1950s. Radar, invisibility, transdimensional flight, perhaps tied to Cold War projects. Was Flight 513 a guinea pig in something bigger? Theory number 3. The hoax. Skeptics insist the whole thing was fabricated by a U.S. tabloid called Weekly World News in 1989. The story appeared once, with no verifiable sources, no photos, and no trace of Santiago Airlines in any registry. Fact-checkers later debunked it as fiction, a creative ghost story that somehow became true through repetition. And yet, even now, people swear it happened. Pilots report seeing an old propeller plane over the Atlantic, vanishing when they approach. Radar anomalies matching the old flight path are occasionally recorded. Coincidence? Or the ghost of a plane still trying to finish its journey? Officially, the truth is simple. There was no Santiago Flight 513. No airline by that name ever existed. The 1989 article was a fabrication, but stories like this endure because they feel real, because they touch something deep in us. The fear of disappearing without a trace, the fascination with time, the need to believe that some mysteries are bigger than science. Maybe that's why, even today, people claim to have seen the ghostly silhouette of a 4-engine constellation gliding silently over Brazil at dusk. No call sign, no passengers, just a whisper on the radio. Santiago 513 requesting clearance to land. They say some flights never truly land. They just keep circling, somewhere between the living and the lost. If this story sent chills down your spine, make sure to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who loves aviation mysteries. And tell me in the comments, what do you think happened to Flight 513?